was born in Walnut, Mississippi. My parents moved to Memphis, Tennessee when I was about 4 years old. And I grew up in Memphis. My dad came in with a guitar when I was 8 years old. I'd get my guitar when I come in school, and I'd go down on this, it's called Broad Street. And I would hit every store down there and play my guitar, and they'd put money in the hole of my guitar. And I was down on Broad Street one afternoon walking over my guitar, and I had this guy. He walked up and he said, "Hey son, can you play that guitar?" And I said, "Yes sir." He said, "Do you sing?" "Yes sir." "Let me hear you." So I played a couple of songs. He said, "Well, I'm a DJ in town." He said, "My name's Eddie Bond." And he said, "I do back then they called Shoals jamborees." He said, "I do a jamboree all over the southern states." And he said, "I'd like to get you to open the shows." So I started opening the shows, and back then I'd open the shows. There'd be 8 or 9 artists on the show. I'd open Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Charlie Feathers, a lot of the rockabilly singers, the Burnett brothers, and I got to open the shows for all these guys. And this was when I was about 10 years old. Finally one day was doing a show, and back then in Memphis, the musicians union was very strong. I mean, you had to just really walk the line with them. And this guy came up to Eddie Bond, who had became my manager, and he said, "Little Travis can sing with y'all, but he can't play his guitar when he sings." And Eddie said, "Well, what's the reasoning?" He said, "Well, he's not in the union." He said, "Well, we've tried to get him in the union, and they tell us that he's too young." And he said, "Well, you know, that's all I can tell you." So make a long story short, we got a lawyer and ended up having to go to the New York headquarters of the National Musicians Union, and they voted me in, the youngest member ever to be voted into the Musicians Union, 11 years old. At the time, nobody knew about the rhythm section that I had, but I tell everybody it's probably the greatest rhythm section ever for an 11-year-old kid. I had Reggie Young on lead guitar, who is, Reggie Young has played on everybody's record, Drift Away, Willie Nelson, Elvis, all of Elvis, Suspicious Mind, all that stuff. He was a guitar player. I was playing rhythm guitar. The bass player was a guy by the name of Stan Kessler, who later on became Sam the Sham's producer, Willie Bully, all that stuff. And guess who my engineer was? Elvis's guitar player, Scotty Moore. So at 11 years old, I got a pretty good rhythm section, and the engineer backed me.